Good morning, and welcome back to the Doing It Live with Doomlink series. We are here once again in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I have to admit to you, full candor at this stage needs to be observed. I don't really remember much of the conversation that I had with this guy, whose name that I believe to be Lubri, in the previous video. You will have noticed I was becoming a little bit irritated. I thought that I would have been able to end the video much sooner than that. It probably dragged on much longer than I originally intended, but whatever conversation we had with him, it is on the record. You are able to go back and see it for yourself, and I probably should have done that as well, but I did not really remember what was discussed, and I hope it wasn't important, really, is the point that I want to make. If it was important, then I don't remember it, okay? So, alright, now that we are all on the same page, we shall proceed with the recording. Ah, goodness gracious. I do also need to get my chat up. So, of course, we have finished the first dungeon. It's not really a case anymore where we get a dungeon item, because I don't believe we received such a thing. We didn't get a dungeon item because, really, the entire way through the game we are receiving what would be the equivalent of items from previous games. These are indeed echoes that we can make use of. And if I look at this, not that, sorry. Didn't really mean to cast that. There we go. Of course, we have received some very important echoes, but I don't believe any of these can really be considered a dungeon item, unless you want to consider the Strangula a dungeon item. You know, very, very important. I was being, not castigated, but at the very least sternly spoken to by various viewers about my lack of Strangula use in the previous dungeon. You know, after receiving it, I didn't actually use it as liberally as other people would. But, yeah, obviously, based on its use, for those who are not aware, and I'm sure most of you are, how it works is you create a climbing strand. It automatically creates, between your standing position and the ceiling, something for you to climb. And it's extraordinary. I mean, there seems to be no limit to the distance that it will go. It just automatically jumps to the ceiling and effectively creates a rope for you. Which is, as I say, pretty extraordinary. I mean, that is a very, very useful item for a game of this kind. So I suspect that for the entirety of the game I will be using that quite a lot. And indeed I will not be failing to use it as I was in the last recording. But anyway, alright, the chat is now up, I can see what you are all saying, and indeed, welcome to the live stream for those who are watching live. This guy's talking about my sword. I suspect that that was the subject of conversation when we last spoke. Oh yeah, very, very briefly, I did notice that the last few parts, I mean, it was one single sit-down recording, but indeed, for those of you watching on YouTube, it will be several parts where this was a problem. The framing of my last live stream for Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was not great. There were issues, and that was because I had set up the framing in a very dark area where I couldn't actually see the edges of the video game frame within OBS, and so things were a little bit off-center. I was raised up off the bottom of the video, and the game was, you know, not even in its presentation on the screen. It was not good. Very below the grade and substandard, and I'm not going to apologize because I don't think it will have affected your video viewing experience, but if I were to apologize, it would be to myself for being so careless. But anyway, it's better now. That's the important point. Let's speak to this guy about my sword. You want to chat about the sword, huh? So, as I mentioned before, this is important that he goes over this again for reasons that I needn't relitigate. As I mentioned before, the Sword of Might is my craftsmanship. For my craftsmanship, that's the intonation, because he was the one who forged it. I do remember that now. For a while I've been researching a type of crystal that's sometimes left behind from the rifts. In my research, I discovered that it's highly effective against rift monsters. So regarding the Sword of Might, I'm assuming that's basically our master sword of the game. Okay, so he's enhancing that sword. Now, as I recall, we shouldn't have the sword ourselves. We can take on Link's form and I believe access the sword that way. But I don't think it's an item sitting in our inventory. I believe I'm correct in saying that. Apparently enhancing the sword will return it to its original state. You should give it a try. All you'd need to do is bring me some might crystals. Enhancing weaponry. Check the machine in Lubri's house to enhance your weapons using might crystals. Well, the first thing that I want to see. And also, hello Takashi. Okay, I do have the Sword of Might in my inventory, but presumably it can only be used when I'm taking on Link's form, which is up on the D-pad like so. Yeah. And let's exit out of that so that we're not wasting our gauge there. But yes, when we are as Zelda, we use the Tri-Rod, and then when we take on Link's form, we are using the Sword of Might. That was my point of confusion. I wasn't sure if we actually physically had the sword, but we do. I think it's a little bit strange that we actually physically have the sword, but Zelda refuses to use it. I guess she hasn't been trained in the ways of sword combat, which is acceptable. We'll say that. We'll say it's acceptable. Questionable, but acceptable. Oh yeah. So the fairy bottles, I do remember these. Remember I was overthinking it, thinking that I had to actually position myself next to the fairy and swing it at the fairy to put it in the bottle. No, the fairy just goes straight in. Just goes straight in. Anyway, let's inspect this, shall we? What do you want to enhance? My sword. Aha, so we only have 5 of the might crystals, I think they're called, are they not? So, they mentioned energy. So I'm assuming that energy refers to our gauge up there. See how the gauge is level 1? I'm assuming that upgrading our energy will take it to level 2, and so on and so forth. Fairly self-explanatory as to the effect of that. We'll be able to use the sword mode for longer. I don't know if it's called sword mode, I'm sure it's got an actual name. I've already allowed that to slip my mind. I really should do better in absorbing this information, but is there any hint here? No. That's fine. So here's the question. Do we wait to accumulate more of these crystals and then upgrade the sword itself? Or do we upgrade our energy? It's hard to know because it depends on how many of these crystals we are going to be acquiring in the future. 1. 2. How easy are they to acquire? And 3. How many upgrades are there for both of these two? At this stage, I don't have the answers to those questions, but maybe just for the sake of demonstration, I will upgrade my energy. I will need to take 5 might crystals from you. Okay. You may do so. Sure thing, leave it to me. So this means we'll be able to use the sword for longer. That is my hypothesis. I don't think metal flexes that way normally. If you saw the whole machine was going, well, it wasn't making that noise. That would be really unusual, but that was my vocal expression of what I saw, and yeah, it was stretching around and doing strange things. Very unusual, and this guy should be concerned about this behavior of the machine. The energy gauge is now level 2. Aha! It actually gets longer, which is cool. That's a very obvious and visual representation of how much more effective our charge is. It physically gets longer, and I like that a lot, actually. Because I needn't wonder now. I know precisely how much longer I can use it for. Well, not as I sit here, but as I use it, I will be able to see how much longer I can use it. Okay. No more enhancements for us because we are out of crystals. Alright, check out the machine whenever you want to enhance something. I certainly will, sir. The rifts. What are you talking about? I'll be here helping Mr. Lubri investigate the rifts so we can better support you. Princess, how can I help? Farewell. That's how you can help. By no longer being in front of me. It's a bit callous, isn't it? But I'm the princess. I can do as I will. That's right. No, I don't really want to use you. I'm going to place you, and then I'm going to remove you. What I actually wanted to do was this. Of course, I have spent most of these recent recordings pressing all of the wrong buttons, and long may that continue. Long may that continue. That's right, we do have these as warp points. I don't know if I've been given a different direction to go in, or... Yes, I have been. There we go. Searching for everyone. Literally everyone. Fair enough. Should we go back the way we came manually to see if there are places that we can access that we could not before? That is the question. I really don't know. Oh, that's me. Wanted, Princess Zelda. If sighted, send word to the King of Hyrule. Well, she's been found, and the King of Hyrule is no longer himself. He is now a... he's under the control of something. Something. Oh, I'm being attacked. Should I enter sword mode, or shall I try to use one of these? Maybe I'll use a Deku Baba. Echo. Take that. Oh, you stopped at a very appropriate time. Look at this. Sorry, that was a strange noise that I made. I was just a little bit perplexed to see that as soon as I summoned the Deku Baba, he stopped chasing me. It's very annoying. Alright. How dare you? Very quick. Very quick to chase me. I just want to see how effective throwing this rock at this spider is. It's very awkwardly climbing the tree. Oh god. Wow, 2 rocks and you're still alive. Maybe I really should be using the sword mode. I'm almost dead, which is fiercely embarrassing. I mean, just... words almost fail. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, I can learn a new echo, but not yet. I have limited time with which I can use this sword mode, so I'm going to get in there and just kill everyone. Alright, let's get out of this. I can't believe I actually wasted a fairy by mucking about very stupidly. I kind of assumed that we wouldn't have a limited time with which to learn this echo. I just assumed that it would stay there permanently. And I think I was probably right to assume that. You learnt the Crawl Chiller. Crawl Chiller? Is there something that can be used outside of combat? I don't know, personally. It's gone all the way over here, and it requires all of our triangles. I really don't remember what they're called. I really need to familiarize myself with that terminology, otherwise I'm going to sound really stupid while commentating this series. Oh. Get him. Sick him, spider. Don't stop now. Oh, you can go into the water, is that right? Or did you just kill yourself? You, pursued the water-dwelling beasts with such alacrity that you actually allowed yourself to die in the process. Very good. Oh, right, you can summon it to a wall and bind yourself to its movement. That is something that I really wasn't thinking about. It was the fact that we did have the binding ability, which I think is accessed through here, is it not? Well, let's just, for argument's sake... So, and then there's another... So, R is to follow. Yeah, there you go. And then he's going to die again. I'm just... I was doing that mostly to... Oh yeah, that's right, I got a 4th triangle on try. That's important to note. That was something I had forgotten. But familiarizing myself with how Try's abilities work is important, because I may actually need to rely on that. It's a function of the game, so being familiar with it is going to help me immensely in actually progressing. Alright. So, at the moment I'm a little bit overwhelmed by how wide this area is. My direction of travel, or rather, places that I can go, could be... there could be a lot of directions for me to go in, but I, at this stage, can't see them all, because there are so many ways for me to go. Oh, there is a Zol over there. Just to cap off what I was saying there, because of the width of this area, I feel like it's hard to keep track of all of these different possible directions. Getting money. Haven't yet found much of a use for money, have I? I did visit one shop in a previous recording, but... yeah. Oh, here we go. Link! Link, are you there? Who is this person? There are so many monsters here. Fight them off for me, please. This is a side quest, apparently. Well, this is our first side quest. Very good. It looks like it was automatically selected as a quest that we're going to do, and I'm fine with that. Looks like it's going to be a very short quest. Let us not forget the usefulness of Ignazol. Get him. I would say that that's considerably more effective than the... or as compared to the other echo we were using before. Come on, over here. I'll just summon you again. Just to get you right there. In fact, now that I have 4 of those triangles... How many fingers am I putting up? Now that I've got 4 of those triangles, I can actually summon 2 Ignazols at a time, which is really good. Wow, saving the day as always. The heroic... Huh? You're not Link. Sorry about that. I would like to now be placed back into danger and wait for Link to come. Go away. That hood had me thinking he was someone else. Please forgive the confusion. My name is Verley, and I'm a resident of Suthorn Village. I set out to chop grass in my village, and before I knew it, I'd chopped my way to Suthorn Prairie. Well, you didn't do a very good job, because there was plenty of grass between there and here. That's how I've been getting all these rupees and hearts, mate. That was when the monsters appeared, and, well, you know the rest. There's a lesson here. You should never get too absorbed in your work. Okay, sure. The Japanese much appreciate your words of wisdom. I'd like to pay you for saving me. I'll pay you back for saving me. It's not much, but I hope you'll take it. What have I got? I got a red rupee, which is 20 rupees indeed. Now, if it was a big red rupee, I think that would be 200 rupees. I could be wrong, but you generally don't get the big red rupees, do you? So, like, silver rupees are 100, and then gold rupees are 200, going back to the older games. But big red rupees, that's where you start to confuse me. That's where I'm sitting here going, I haven't got the first clue as to how many rupees that's going to give you. I feel like they exist in previous games, but I couldn't tell you which games, and I also couldn't tell you the value. He's been a light to all of us, he says, in relation to Link. It's rare to see a young person with that sort of drive to help others. You know, he doesn't have much of a personality. I don't really think he does much else. He just helps people. He goes on quests and things of that sort. Well, I've been entrusted with a message to give him, and that is that the villagers are waiting for him. I suspect because they're quite reliant on him by the sounds of it. They're probably like, oh no, this menial task that I would otherwise give to Link cannot be given to Link because he's not here. I'll have to do it myself. That's what it sounds like to me. But perhaps I'm being needlessly cynical. Look at this terrible performance. Oh, there is a heart piece up there. Let's consider how we might be able to get that based on what we have. So I know, for example, that I wouldn't be able to send that spider there unless I created a safe path. Do you think these tables float? They do. They do very much float. I'm going to try and remove one of them. Alright, let's try that again. What I want to do is to create these 2 tables and then see if we can send the crawl chiller across them and see if he goes up. This may or may not work. I suspect that it won't, but I'd like to just test the theory of what was mentioned in chat by Mad Duck Wizard as far as attaching myself to the spider. So if I... Oh! No, unfortunately, it is 3 triangles in order to do that, so that's not going to work. Unless, of course, I can summon you on that. Can I? I'm trying my best. Oh, there we go. And then X. Hold on. No. He does go straight up there, doesn't he? I think that might be what we need to do. I just need to get the timing right. So... How do you... Oh, yeah. I think the mistake that I made was holding X. I don't want to hold X. Oh, for goodness sake. Let's try that again. I just need to get the mechanics of this right. Actually, I know what's happening. The first one that I summon disappears naturally by summoning the spider, so that's entirely acceptable. There you go. Ooh, not in that direction. Not in that direction. So if you saw last time, he actually went in the perfect direction. He went across and over. Let's try that again. Go on, my friend. No! Do you think I can control its movement direction? What did I do differently last time? Whoops. Ironically, that probably would have worked as well. Oh, and now we've lost that table. I don't know what causes that table to disappear. Oh no, it's because there was already a spider in existence, you see. And then I summoned another one, which caused the table to disappear. Fine. Fine, fine, fine. Please go in a direction that works. Yes, that's what we want. Excellent work. Excellent work. And many thanks to Mad Duck Wizard for giving me the idea to do that. Oh, release. Excellent. I'm sure we'll be able to use that again in the future. The Crawlchiller, not really a good enemy to fight, or a good echo to fight enemies, but it is very useful for other things, as we've now demonstrated. Get out of here, Zol. Can we interact with the butterfly? Not really. Oh, that is an enemy spider. Here we go. Ignazol time. I am the ultimate advocate for the use of Ignazols. Just look how effective it is. Well, to be honest, it's not as effective against these spiders as the moblins. Weirdly, and I suppose this is an important question, were those moblins susceptible to fire? Or do they have considerably less health than the Crawlchillers? That is a question to ask. I'm not going to be getting the answer, I don't suspect, but it's worth asking the question. Alright. So, I can tell you, like, what I'm doing right now is exactly what I like about Zelda, to be clear. I'm interacting with an environment, I have a few different directions I can possibly go, and I'm taking my time. I'm going at the pace that is comfortable for me, and in that sense, they've done a very good job of capturing the spirit of Zelda in this particular game, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I suppose the reason why I'm having to constantly report back to you on how I feel about this game is because I came in feeling a little uncertain as to whether or not I would enjoy it. But yep, I'm happy to give you another update as far as that is concerned. I'm still enjoying this game, and particularly right now, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm sort of backtracking, aren't I? So let's... And I really should also be consulting that map on the bottom right, because that will help me get my bearings a little bit. I can see what directions I can go in this way. As for why I've got two different waypoints, I really don't know. There's my map. So there's a waypoint here, which is searching for everyone. And the other one is, well, same quest, but I see that it's in a very different direction. I would probably go here first just because it's closest. That's what makes sense to me. But, yeah, I suppose therefore I probably wouldn't want to go this way, because that is a very distant objective. Maybe instead I will head to the west. I wonder what that is. It's not the castle, is it? I mean, maybe it is the castle. Do I have other maps? I'm not sure. Anyway, I asked that question because I thought that perhaps Hyrule Castle would be on our map, but it wasn't. So, I don't know. Here's Hyrule Field. Yeah, maybe this is taking us towards the castle. I'm going to make my way up there because I want to have the map actually as explored as possible. Phew, this field is so big. You're just remarking upon that now? Is this your first day guarding the Hyrule field? Guarding the Hyrule field. Perhaps patrolling would be the better term. At least we've finished putting up wanted posters in the West, but nobody's seen Princess Zelda yet. Yeah, nobody's seen Princess Zelda. And you are an authority on that subject. Why? Because you clearly haven't spoken to everyone, so therefore you are not in a position to comment upon nobody having seen Princess Zelda, if that makes sense, you know. I mean, until you've spoken to everyone, you can't say that. Anyway, first we were ordered to save her, and now we're ordered to capture her. True. That's why it was a wanted poster. It wasn't, sorry, I'd forgotten the events as they unfolded in previous recordings. So basically, they're now looking to capture me rather than looking to rescue me from where I was held captive. So yeah, that's an important development. I'm sure this didn't elude any of you, but it did actually confuse me slightly though. I was told to go to the Gerudo or to the Zora and save everyone. Thank you, Takashi. I sort of figured that out based on the two objectives. It is true that I didn't remember it, but yeah. I would presume that the Zoras are here, and then, no, that's Gerudo, because this looks quite sparse, doesn't it? So this is probably where the Zoras are. That's probably the Zora village. So we will end up going there first. The reason why I'm going this way is because I want to see the castle, but maybe that's not a good idea, because these people are trying to fight me. Oh my god, it's you! I remember you from older games. So I recently got, I'll show you what I got. I recently got this, which is the Japanese version, and I do realize that this is flipped. In reality, it does not look backwards like this does, but I got the Japanese version of the Zelda Collector's Edition, and I have been playing Ocarina of Time on it. Yeah, so that's the Japanese version. Of course, I've got the PAL version as well, which is this one, so like so. So yes, I have been playing Ocarina of Time recently on that, which is going very smoothly. There's nothing really immediately problematic about that game. The Zelda Collector's Edition has quite a reputation for having glitchy games on it. Not sure about Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, but definitely the N64, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask games, they have a reputation for being quite glitchy. Haven't encountered any issues yet, personally. Maybe the Japanese version is a little bit better. Not sure. But, yeah, the point that I'm trying to make here is that in my recent experience in Ocarina of Time, playing that, I encountered this very same bird numerous times. Ignazol, take that. Yeah, I mean, you can fly out of my range if you would like, but you're currently on fire. You're on fire. So, yeah. Oh, we can learn his echo. What on earth would we be able to do with that? Can we... Does that mean Zelda can fly now? Because we can... I guess... what's the term? Follow? We can follow its path? Very interesting. I don't suspect that would help with this chest, though. Let's look at everything that we have. And, I mean, maybe that's not even required. Maybe we can just pull it out like that. Yeah, I was beginning to engage in this sort of master mathematician's thought process of like all the different ways that I could possibly get this thing out, and then surprisingly it was the most obvious one. Alright, you got 5 jars of floral nectar. Well, that's extremely anticlimactic. I was hoping for something a little better than that. I should check to see what this does. Floral nectar. It is just health recovery. Okay. There is a cooking system in this game, as I understand, for those familiar with Breath of the Wild. I suspect there's also a cooking system in Tears of the Kingdom, but I guess I'll just say, for clarification, for those who are not aware, I have not played Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know when I'm going to play Tears of the Kingdom. I suspect I will do it at some point. But believe it or not, and this might actually blow your mind, when you hear me say this. I want to re-record Breath of the Wild. So, very short history lesson. When Breath of the Wild came out, I recorded it. I recorded a Let's Play for it. Precisely 2 people on Earth watched it, and I would like to re-experience the game. When Breath of the Wild came out, obviously it was a launch title for the Switch, and I didn't own a Switch at the time, and I had no intention of buying one until about a year later when Monster Hunter Double Cross was announced in English, and then I thought, well, that's it, I'm getting a Switch, and absolutely no questions asked. But at that time, I played the Wii U version of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and guess what? It had poor performance, but I wasn't concerned by that. I'm more concerned about this game having poor performance, and I'm not going to begin ranting about that, as tempting as it is to do so. But at least with Breath of the Wild, that was a next-gen game being played on a previous-gen system. So the performance issues that I was experiencing in Breath of the Wild were tolerable, but still, they did mar the experience a little bit for me. So I would like to replay it on the Switch, and yeah, I'll do it as part of the Doing It Live with Doomlink series. I sort of alighted upon this idea yesterday while I was watching back some of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and the recordings that I'd done for it, and I thought, yeah, it's probably about time that I did some more Breath of the Wild, so I'm going to do that. It's going to be a long project. It's not going to be a constantly updated project, but yeah, I just feel like enough time has passed now. Because that was, I mean, I can't quite believe this, but it was getting to about 8 years ago when that game came out, and that's extraordinary. In fact, it probably has been 8 years now. I don't remember, was it in the early part, middle, or late 2017 when that came out? Probably middle? I don't believe it was early 2017. Either middle or late. But, yeah, it's just about 8 years now. March 2017, there you go. So it has indeed been 8 years, my god. Now, getting back to the game, which is performing poorly despite being a current-gen game. I don't really know how to approach these guys. I mean, I don't see them as enemies, but they have a task to capture me, so I would probably have to incapacitate them. I can't imagine that I would be killing them. I mean, it is a Zelda game, and I believe I've killed guards. No, I haven't killed guards in the past. They're usually people that you would avoid rather than kill, but anyway, that just sounds a little bit brutal, doesn't it? Oh, Ignazol wins over regular Zol. Very sad. And for the regular Zol, that is. Should I investigate the usefulness of this bird? It's called a guai. Guai? Uruguay? That is a country for those who don't know that, which I'm sure all of you do. Should I... Well, let's just see what he does. Oh my god, he goes really high, doesn't he? I'm doing this as a sort of proof of concept to see how far and how effective the targeting for this is. Okay, so definitely if I were to summon you, I would have to hurry up and do it almost immediately in order to attach myself to you. Okay. Yeah, it's really hard to do that, isn't it? Oh, there you go, and then R to follow. Zelda can fly, ladies and gentlemen. Zelda can fly. Whoa! Alright, go back up there now. You are now my mode of transportation. That's what I've decided. This is good fun. What good fun. You just have to be quick with using the follow ability. I remember there was someone that really upset you in one of your last recordings of Breath of the Wild. I think I was telling the story. I doubt that it happened in that recording, or that anyone pissed me off in that recording. What I was talking about, probably, which is what you're remembering, was the story about this guy who came in to watch me play Breath of the Wild, and I was playing blind and intending to figure things out on my own, but this guy was very aggressively telling me like how to proceed through the game. with no concern for my explanation to him that I was trying to just go through the game on my own. And it's not like I was engaging with particularly difficult puzzles. I believe I had approached a Guardian Tower and was just figuring out how to get up the tower from where I was, and he just wouldn't stop telling me how to do it. And I said to him, look, stop that. And it did actually turn into a situation where I had to sit him down, very vocally knock him down several levels, and then he left after that. It was weird. It's probably one of maybe 3 altercations I have had with people in a live stream since I started live streaming in 2019. So it was weird, but yeah, I think you would have been there, Mad Dog. It was funny. It was actually funny. I wasn't like absolutely infuriated, but I was able to recognize the entertainment value of the scenario. So whenever these sort of things happen, and they do not happen often, it must be said, in the back of my mind, I'm always aware that there is entertainment value in it, which is part of why I'm not inclined to remain silent when people are behaving really stupidly. Anyway, do I really want to go all the way to the castle? Let's just do it, because that was something that I decided to do. The overworld is actually smaller than I thought. It looks really big, doesn't it? But to get from there to here, it only takes about a minute. Oh. I might swim around the outside. I suppose I won't be able to discover the castle after all. That's fine. Let's not. I just don't want to interact with these people. Oh, this is important. I can now warp here. There you go. Apparently that guy was taking offense to the fact that I didn't want his help. I don't know. I mean, I was being very polite initially, but it became very impolite after a while. I couldn't, as for people who want to find that, I couldn't even guess. I think it would have been 2020. I'm assuming it was 2020, 2021 potentially. And as for the part number, I've got no idea. Oh. I would like to see, again, how this Guai fights. Not very well by the looks of it. Or at least not against enemies that can move a lot. Oh, yeah, this is not working. Ignizol. Take that. Ignizol is basically my go-to. So we've seen that the Deku Barber is not particularly useful. We know that the Sea Urchin doesn't do shit. We do have Spear Moblins and Dark Knots. I suppose I shouldn't forget that I have the Dark Knot. I think that's a very useful echo. Should I summon a Dark Knot and just absolutely decimate these guards? It's almost tempting to do so, because then it's not me doing it. Feels just slightly more acceptable. Sorry, I'm just lighting Hyrule Field on fire. I hope nobody minds. What happens if you drop an echo on the trampoline? You just thought of it? Okay, well, let's have a look. Drop an echo on the trampoline. I'm able to summon you as well. Yeah, so they don't automatically bounce. I mean, I wonder if they bounce if I drop the trampoline and the echo from a height. Let's have a look. Let's see how good the physics of this game is. I'd be very impressed if they were able to do this. No, so there's no bouncing that goes on. That's fine. Well, that's your curiosity satisfied, and I feel that I benefited from that as well. Good to know. The trampoline is not quite as bouncy as we may have first thought. Damn it, Nintendo! Yeah, that's my scathing criticism of Echoes of Wisdom. Bad game. I can't summon echoes onto the trampoline. It looks like we've got some rifts here. Can we interact with the rifts in any way right now? Not really. I think the rifts disappear as we clear dungeons, presumably. But I'm going to see how the Dark Knot deals with you. Probably not very well. Ah. I don't think the bird can actually harm the Dark Knight. And it turns out that he is able to deal with that bird very effectively. Because he swings immediately. I thought he would have to begin swinging, and then by the time he brought his axe down, the bird would have flown out of his range. But actually, he swings very quickly. Faster than I first expected. So there you go. There you go. We'll try not to touch the rift. Whoa! Get over here, Dark Knight. There is a rope to be killed. Yeah. I'm liking the Dark Knight. This doesn't mean that we have abandoned the Ignazol. The Ignazol remains useful. I wouldn't want anyone to labour under the misapprehension that the Ignazol has been replaced. Certainly not. There's another warp point. Or waypoint as it's described. I was referring to waypoint, so I used the word waypoint to refer to our objectives marked on the map. So I probably shouldn't use that word because it turns out this game is using the word waypoint to describe the warp points. So, yeah. Terminology is important when conducting a commentary, and I will remember that waypoint actually is not, in this particular game, being used to describe the objectives marked on the map. Very well. Alright, so we're now progressing more or less towards our next objective. He says as he begins to go in a different direction. I don't know, I just want to make sure that I'm being thorough. In fact, we've been live for 41 minutes. I'd better end this, shouldn't I? I have achieved nothing in this part for the VOD. I'm not ending the live stream. Again, I have to make this clear. The live stream is not ending. I'm just dividing up the recordings, okay? Because I don't want like a 2-hour long recording that people are only going to watch 20 minutes of. That's the reason why I'm doing this, to be very clear. For those of you who do watch 2-hour recordings, good on you. But I guess you're in a worse position now than you were in the past, aren't you? Anyway, thank you for watching me walk around Hyrule Field for 40 minutes. I will see you in the next part. Bye-bye for now.